Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my first update for my Pan Those Eyeshadows Remix edition. Last month I brought back a Project Panner fave Pan Those Eyeshadows, but I changed it up a little bit to work better for me, hopefully, and so far I hope you'll see that it has been. So in this project I am working on 4 eyeshadows. The goal is of course to hit pan on them, but I must use them at least 24 times, and if I'm not really seeing any visual progress, or I know that these eyeshadows are going to be extremely difficult to hit pan on, I can roll them out after 24 uses. 2 of the shades are completely randomly generated from my entire eyeshadow collection, as many people do with Pan Those eyeshadows, and the 2 other shades are going to be chosen using Lanie's 100 prompts. I have Laney linked in my description box. The caveat to that is that I have 8 focus palettes, and the prompt that I generate has to work with the palettes I've decided to focus on. Now these palettes are not going to stay the same over the course of this project pan, but I need to keep that in mind in order to be successful in this project. An update to some stats: I did do some decluttering in my collection. I currently have 95 eyeshadow palettes. My pan percentage is up to 2.25%, and we will get into some changes beyond just the decluttering here shortly. Alright, let's get into the progress I've made on my 4 eyeshadows. First up, the randomly generated shadows we're going to do first. The first shadow came from my ColourPop Smoke and Roses palette, and it is the shade Whistle. I will show you what this shade looked like when we rolled it in, and then what it is looking like today after 17 uses. There is an absolutely massive dip in this eyeshadow. I am going to try and remember to swatch. It is a very dark, cool toned brown. It is like neutral to cool, and the reason this has such a prominent dip in it is I have been using this in the tail portion of my eyebrow as well as liner, which is what I have been using it for today. I do also have it on my outer corner, so it's not just being dug into with a very thin brush. I am trying to use it on my outer corner as well, which I hope you're able to see from the dip, but it definitely is a very deep dip happening because I am using that very thin angled brush. I feel very confident that I will have pan in this shortly. 17 uses, and we are at the point where every time I dip in here, I'm kind of, inspecting it, seeing if I can spot that shiny pan, but not quite yet, so hopefully for the next update. The second randomly generated eyeshadow is another ColourPop one. This one came from my Wild Nothing palette, and it is the shade Spirited. Now, as I'm sure you can see, we started off with a dip. I believe this was in Pan Those eyeshadows way back when I did this project before, so I had a bit of a head start on this shade. It is also a glittery topper kind of super shock shadow formula. It is very flaky and quite emollient, if that is the right word. Like, it really shifts around a lot when I dip my finger in here. This is what it looks like today. I hope you are able to see a shiny pan. I did ultimately hit pan on this using it on my inner corners today, but I actually put it all over my lid on top as well. I've been using this as a topper. And so while the pan looks quite small, the dip is very large in here. I got a ton of use out of this. I did use it 10 times within this project, but as I said, it was in a project previously and I had that big head start, but I'm so happy to finally have pan in this, and that also means we will be randomly generating another shade. Next, let's chat about the 2 eyeshadows that I chose from my focus palettes using Lanie's prompts. So the first prompt I got is hit pan in a palette that doesn't have any pans yet. So I chose my ABH Sultry palette, and I did choose the shade Pearl, which I did kind of regret, but I'm just keeping on with that. I wish I had chose Twig, but alas, I did not. So I did choose Pearl, and this is what it looked like last month when I rolled it in. And what it is looking like today, it is another inner corner shade. This one's a bit more neutral, leaning cool, and it is very beautiful. I have only reached for this shade 4 times so far. I don't know if I will have pan in this by the next update. There's not much of a dip forming yet, but I do feel very confident in hitting pan in an ABH eyeshadow. And the last eyeshadow I was working on, I chose from the prompt a shade you want to hit pan in, and I rolled in my Modern Renaissance palette. I am working on this in my deck of panning project as well, trying to finish one shade, but I would love to have more pans showing in this palette, so I chose to work on the shade Vermeer. This is what Vermeer was looking like when I rolled it into this project. Again, we had a big head start, quite a large dip on this shade. This palette is so used and abused that I just wanted kind of an easy shade to check off the list. I really wanted to gain momentum with this project, and I feel like I've done that. I reached for this 7 times, and as you can see, I have successfully hit pan. This is a beautiful icy inner corner shade, more purple leaning than pearl. And even though I knew I essentially had 3 inner corner slash toppery looking shades in my color story, I felt that I could hit pan on these pretty easily, and I did with 2 of them. 10 uses on one and 7 more uses on another. So I have been doing my makeup a bit more frequently and definitely prioritized these shades, which is exactly what I wanted. I'm a little disappointed in the pan in Vermeer because it's certainly rusted, and I didn't even realize I had hit pan originally because it's not like shiny and metallic, but it definitely is a pan. It's just rusty. So this was the color story I was working on. I will insert a better picture of it, but I hit pan on 2 out of my 4 shades, and even better, it's 1 from each of the categories, if you will. So it's going to be really fun to generate some new shades to work on. So we will be carrying over my Smoke and Roses palette, and I feel very confident in having pan in this next month. And also Pearl, feeling less confident on this one, but it's just a really good everyday shade, and I'll definitely get a lot of use out of this palette. But now we're going to, let's do randomly generate for my entire collection first. I am going to screen record, and as I hope you are able to see, I have the numbers 1 to 1,374. If we roll in a palette that's currently in a different project pan, I will re-roll, and obviously if the eyeshadow already has pan, I will be re-rolling. We are at the bottom, which means that is a newer eyeshadow. So 1,303. Comes from my Cosmic Beauty Winter Wonderland palette, and it is the shade Blanket. I have no idea what that one looks like, but that is our randomly generated shade. Now moving on to Lanie's prompts. As you can see, I moved the prompt that I successfully completed down to the bottom, so we will now be generating from 1 to 99. And generate, we get prompt 16. Another one that is a shade I want to pan. I am going to roll this in, but I am a little worried that, you know, we're knocking out all the easy prompts at the very beginning. So I'm going to have a look at my focus palettes, choose an eyeshadow that I just want to work on, and then also grab my Cosmic Beauty palette. Alright, so I have adjusted the color story. These are the 2 shades that are rolling over. I have grabbed my Cosmic Beauty Winter Wonderland palette. This is the perfect time of year to roll this in. This palette is very new to my collection. I have no idea what the shade Blanket looks like, and I've also never hit pan in a Cosmic Beauty eyeshadow before, so this might be a 24 uses and then roll out, but we will see. Just trying to like manage some expectations from you guys. I'm a little nervous. This is a very blue, purple, icy winter palette. Let's open it up. Still not looking. Removing the plastic sheet. So the shade Blanket, I think, is on the top row. It is. Oh my gosh, it's a beautiful light purple shade. I will put in a picture. It is a matte, but I'm very happy to be rolling this in. Let us swatch it. I love the Cosmic Beauty eyeshadow formula, and we finally have some color to play with. You guys know I do love color, but it's not always the easiest to reach for every single day. So this is a kind of like lavender matte, very light purple shade. I'm very pleased with that. This will be perfect on the inner corner or as a transition for more purple looks. I'm very pleased. Now for Lanie's prompt, another eyeshadow I just want to hit pan on. This is a really great prompt. It's just that I rolled a shadow out that I want to hit pan on, so I was a little bit, I don't know, just looking around at my focus palettes to try and decide, and I ultimately decided on my Walking on Eggshells trio. This is my oldest palette along with the Comfort Zone that I bought at the same time, and 2 out of 3 eyeshadows in here already have pan, and I would love to hit or surpass 100 uses on this year. So I'm going to try and hit pan in the crease shade. It is my least favorite shade in this palette, which is why it doesn't have pan on it yet, because for a crease shade it is shimmery. So it's kind of this bronzy kind of shade. There's a swatch of it. A shade that I will be able to reach for every single day. There is a dip already in this, so again, trying to give me some easy shades to work on. And I really don't foresee any trouble in hitting pan on this, and I would love to see the pans expanded in the other 2 shades while I have this out. This will be great to use like every single day when I'm in a rush in the morning. And again, a shade that I just want to hit pan on, and that also means that there will be no more shades eligible in this palette, so I'll have to choose another focus palette to roll in. So maybe I can have your guys' feedback on what palette you think I should add in on my focus palettes. I did share all 8 of those in the introduction if you missed it. So if you know of any older palettes in my collection you think I should hit pan on, or palettes that you think will be really easy for me to hit pan on, then definitely leave those in the comments below. But this is the color story we are going to be working with for the next month. And I would love to have 2 rollouts again next month. I feel really confident on the shade I'm using in my brows, and also with this Wet n Wild shade. And again, it would be 1 from each category, which will just be fun for rolling new shades in, you know? I'm so happy I started this project pan again. I've had so much fun already, and in switching up the rules for myself, it's just made it a lot more easier and setting myself up for success. I have now hit 6 eyeshadow pans in 2024, so I have 31 eyeshadow pans showing in my collection currently, and my eyeshadow percentage is increasing because I did increase the number of pans in my collection while also decluttering some palettes, which was really great. I hope you guys are enjoying watching this project pan and are happy that I brought it back. If you did enjoy today's video, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget in the comments below, give me some suggestions for the next focus palette to roll in, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!